Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that man should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. Havamal, words of the High One. Silence becomes the son of a prince. To be silent but brave in battle, it befits a man to be merry and glad until the day of his death. The coward believes he will live forever if he holds back in the battle, but in old age he shall have no peace, though spears have spared his limbs. The Iliad by Homer. Book 6. Hector hurried from the house when she had done speaking, and went down the streets by the same way that he had come. When he had gone through the city and had reached the same gates through which he would go out onto the plain, his wife came running towards him, Andromache, daughter of the great Eetion, who ruled in Thebe under the wooded slopes of Mount Placus, and was king of the Cilicians. His daughter had married Hector, and now came to meet him with a nurse who carried his little child in her bosom, a mere babe, Hector's darling son, and lovely as a star. Hector had named him Scamandrius, but the people called him Astyanax, for his father stood alone as chief guardian of Ilius. Hector smiled as he looked upon the boy, but he did not speak, and Andromache stood by him weeping and taking his hand into her own. "Dear husband," said she, "your valor will bring you to destruction. Think on your infant son, and on my hapless self who ere long shall be your widow. For the Achaeans will set upon you in a body and kill you. It would be better for me, should I lose you, to lie dead and buried, for I shall have nothing left to comfort me when you are gone, save only sorrow. I have neither father nor mother now. Achilles slew my father when he sacked Thebe, the goodly city of the Cilicians. He slew him, but did not for very shame spoil him. When he had burned him in his wondrous armor, he raised a barrow over his ashes, and the mountain nymphs, daughters of Aegus bearing Jove, planted a grove of elms about his tomb. I had 7 brothers in my father's house, but on the same day they all went within the house of Hades. Achilles killed him, as they were with their sheep and cattle. My mother, her who had been queen of all the land under Mount Placus, he brought hither with the spoil, and freed her for a great sum. But the archer Queen Diana took her in the house of your father. Nay, Hector, you who to me are father, mother, brother, and dear husband, have mercy upon me. Stay here upon this wall. Make not your child fatherless, and your wife a widow. As for the host, place them near the fig tree, where the city can be best scaled, and the wall is weakest. Thrice have the bravest of them come thither and assailed it, under the 2 Ajaxes, Idomeneus, the sons of Atreus, and the brave son of Tydeus, either of their own bidding, or because some soothsayer had told them. And Hector answered, Wife, I too have thought upon all this, but with what face should I look upon the Trojans, men or women, if I shirk battle like a coward? I cannot do so. I know nothing save to fight bravely in the forefront of the Trojan host and win renown alike for my father and myself. Well do I know that the day will surely come when mighty Ilius shall be destroyed with Priam and Priam's people. But I grieve for none of these, not even for Hecuba, nor King Priam, nor for my brothers many and brave who may fall in the dust before their foes. For none of these do I grieve as for yourself when the day shall come on which some one of the Achaeans shall rob you forever of your freedom, and bear you weeping away. It may be that you will have to ply the loom in Argos at the bidding of a mistress, or to fetch water from the springs Messias or Hyperia, treated brutally by some cruel taskmaster. Then will one say who sees you weeping, she was wife to Hector, the bravest warrior among the Trojans during the war before Helios. On this your tears will break forth anew for him who would have put away the day of captivity from you. May I lie dead under the barrow that is heaped over my body ere I hear you cry as they carry you into bondage. He stretched his arms towards his child, but the boy cried and nestled in his nurse's bosom, scared at the sight of his father's armor, and at the horsehair plume that nodded fiercely from his helmet. His father and mother laughed to see him, but Hector took the helmet from his head and laid it all gleaming upon the ground. Then he took his darling child, kissed him, and dandled him in his arms, praying over him the while to Jove and to all the gods. Jove, he cried, grant that this my child may be even as myself, chief among the Trojans. Let him be not less excellent in strength, and let him rule Ilios with his might. Then one may say of him as he comes from battle, the son is far better than the father. May he bring back the blood-stained spoils of him who he has laid low, and let his mother's heart be glad. With this he laid the child again in the arms of his wife, who took him to her own soft bosom, smiling through her tears. As her husband watched her, his heart yearned towards her, and he caressed her fondly, saying, "My own wife, do not take these things too bitterly to heart. No one can hurry me down to Hades before my time. But if a man's hour is come, be he brave or be he coward, there is no escape for him when he has once been born. Go then within the house, and busy yourself with your daily duties, your loom, your distaff, and the ordering of your servants, for war is man's matter, and mine above all others of them that have been born in Ilios." He took his plumed helmet from the ground, and his wife went back again to her house, weeping bitterly and often looking back towards him. When she reached her home, she found her maidens within, and bade them all join in her lament. So they mourned Hector in his own house, though he was yet alive, for they deemed that they should never see him return safe from battle, and from the furious hands of the Achaeans.